You know that rule where you supposedly can't fold a piece of paper in half more than 7 times? That was a big thing when I was in middle or high school, and people in class would go up to each other and be like, "Hey, did you know you can't fold a piece of paper in half more than 7 times? Go ahead, try it. You can't do it." And of course, there'd be people who would start folding, get to the seventh time, and be like, "Oh, wow, yeah, you're right. You really can't fold it more than 7 times. That's crazy." But then there'd be people, like me, who would push the limits and go for the eighth fold. There's a point here, stick with me. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, this is a piece of paper that is folded in half 7 times perfectly, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. And you can see that if you try to bend it in half again, there's a lot of tension, there's not much give. But I figured out that with the right type of paper and a specific pattern of folding, and using some sort of tool to pack the paper thinner, you could technically get it to fold over in half an eighth time. However, it just kind of looked like a bulky mess like this, kind of like you tried to zip an overstuffed suitcase together. But it was, for all intents and purposes, folded in half an eighth time. And when I figured it out, I was so proud and excited to show everybody that, hey, I figured out how to fold it in half an eighth time. Instead, it was always met with oh no, that doesn't count. It's not perfect. It's not technically in half. You cheated. You didn't do it the same way as everyone else. And of course, I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't count? Who's to say that you have to do it a certain way and that it has to be perfect? And of course, that was always met with, well, it just doesn't count. No explanation further than that, just complete denial and invalidation. And it just made me realize that that is quite literally been my experience as an autistic and ADHD person trying to fit into the world that we live in. The other kids didn't count the way that I folded the paper 8 times because it didn't line up with whatever arbitrary rules they had for how it had to be done. Whereas the way that I saw it was, I found an innovative way to get the job done and push the boundaries. Just because you do something different doesn't make it wrong. So if anyone tries to tell you that you can't do something or that the way you're trying to do something isn't going to work, don't listen to them. Figure out your own way how to make an eighth fold. Creativity and spite can get a lot of shit done.